is Patty with the Leather Lady LLC once again with another saddle video, and we are going to be talking about leathers today. This is a part of the Western saddle. You will hear the word stirrup leathers. A lot of people use those in the English world. However, we are going to be talking about leathers on a Western saddle today. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to show you what they are, how to replace your own if you want to, and the process that I use to do that. Now, saddle makers have all different kinds of processes, different kinds of leathers, different kinds of Blevins, and la 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 la. You know, they have it all. So, but this is how I do it at the Leather Lady LLC. So let's get started. What you have on a Western saddle that holds, you know, I'm getting these in the way here. Let's see if I can show this, is your fender. That's where your leg goes, right? But underneath that is what's called the leather. Okay, so with your leathers, these are going to come in different sizes. There's going to come in different ways that they're connected. The older saddles is like what's showing here. This is actually laced together, front and back, very inconvenient. So a lot of your 100-year-old, 80-year-old, 60-year-old saddles have this because that's what they used. Blevins weren't introduced till later. And so this is how they would do that. The inconvenient part is if you had a different rider, or if you were trying to use, you know, somebody else was using a saddle, they were a little too short, a little too tall, you have to undo this whole thing and go ahead and relace it. It being old, sometimes the saddle strings are brittle and hard and very inconvenient. So not a good way to actually redo. Now that we have Blevins, better to put a Blevin on your leathers. Okay, what is a Blevin, guys? Watch my other video. Are you watching my videos? No, there is a video on Blevins, how to replace them, how to add them. So go to that video. I'll post that in the description below. But this here is a Blevin. This is called a horizontal Blevin, which I am going to be putting on this saddle. So this is the metal part of the Blevin. Okay, and then this is the leather part that goes over. Sometimes these are not leather, sometimes they're just metal, and you can get the slides to go over them, but then it just slides on top of them. Okay, and then it goes on to this part of the saddle so that it's much easier to go ahead and replace. All right, so you need a Blevin, you need a ruler, you got to know how big your leather is because you want to know how big the slot is in the tree, and we'll talk about that in a minute. However, this leather is 3 inches wide. So I know that that hole is 3 inches wide. Some leathers are 2.5 inches. And if you go to English leathers, they may be 1.5 inches, 2 inches. And Australian saddles have different leathers as well. So this is what we're looking at, 3-inch leather. What do we need else? We also need some hide. Okay, now you can go buy leathers that are already cut and made with the holes and everything. However, I have a lot of projects, so I wanted to go ahead and purchase a hide, and this leathers needed to be longer. This gentleman's a little taller, so we wanted it to be longer. So in order to do that, I had to buy half a hide. Half of a hide. You don't need to buy a whole hide. Half of a hide, or just buy the leathers. I think there's some like Weaver and stuff sell them. They're $124 for two. A little spendy, but it's what they charge. Okay, so you can go on and see. This is the leather that we're going to be using. Let's go dancing. Sorry, I'm a goofer guy. Skirting leather starts at 12-14 ounces. This is just to hold your stirrups on, because you also have your fender leathers that are going to hold everything on as well. So those are the things that you need. What is the first step that you need to do? Is that you need to take the saddle apart. Okay, you have to take the saddle apart in order to get to the leathers, because those leathers go through the tree. That's what holds everything together for your fenders. But we're going to have to remove the conchos, the screws and everything, and we're going to have to peel this back. Okay, and when we peel that back, we'll see the slots. Now the slots for the leathers are about right here, and so we need to pull the old leathers through. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next. Okay, and I'll try to do that in a process so that you can see that. I'm not going to do the whole process, guys. I'm not going to sit here and have you watch my videos. You probably get bored. If you want to, please comment below if you want me to do the whole process so you can see that. But I'm just going to show it really quickly through so you can see what I'm doing. We do have to have burrs and rivets. That is going to hold these on to the leather itself. Burrs and rivets, copper burrs and rivets. There's different sizes. I'll talk about that when we get to the point. Or watch my Blevin leather video where how to put Blevins on. All right? Okay, so let's go to the next step. I'm going to pause right now. We'll get all set up so that we can take this saddle apart and you can watch that. So this is really broken. The saddle string is going to be replaced anyway, so I'm not worried about it. So what I do is I take something to hold the things in that belong to this saddle so I don't mix them up. I'm just going to cut this because it's so old it's breaking already. All right, so I'm just going to cut this because we're going to pull these out and replace them once we're done. Garbage. Garbage, garbage, garbage. Okay, so you're just going to remove the rosettes. I'll cut that off even more. Kicho, you want to help me? I have a Frenchie. She's staring at me. Okay, so I'm going to throw those in a bin, hold those together. See how this comes apart? Usually there is a screw here, and you see the hole for it, but the screw is missing. We would pull that out, and then you can see you can pull it all the way back. All right, and then we're going to do that on the other side. Now this side has a ring, so because I work on many things at one time, I take pictures of what I'm doing and what I've got going on each saddle, so I put it back the way that they want it. There's certain things that they may like that we need to do, and so again, these are going to be replaced, so I don't need to worry about them, but I do want to give them back their ring. I could put a new ring on there. They can ask me, or they can tell me if they want a new ring, but this person didn't. All right. So we're going to take this off now. As I'm removing these rosettes, these are called rosettes. Sometimes they will put a nail in the center of these rosettes. Go watch my rosette video. These are called slotted rosettes. And I'll clean these up before I put them back. Anytime I take something apart, I clean it up and put it back because what's the sense? That leather's probably never been cleaned or oiled or conditioned underneath it. And some people won't. However, I do because I give quality work as much as I can. Okay, and these are hard as rock. All right, but see there's a nail in there, or is it a screw? It's a nail. So then you're going to have to, if it doesn't pull out really easy, then you're going to have to get something to pull it out. I actually have a nail puller. Okay, it's one of these guys here. Okay, so I'll get in there. Might have to loosen it out a little bit. And I saved this because I want to know how long of a nail this saddle maker used. So it's old and rusted. Okay, so now I can go ahead and... Now I got a screw here. This side had the screw. Remember the other side didn't? Love Tool Man the tailor. Give me a powerful drill. Okay, reverse it. It's best when you have a nail like this. Wow, this is a long one. This is actually a longer one than typically they do, but it's fine as long as it's not poking through the tree. That's another video. If you're got nails and screws poking through your fleece, go watch that one. Check your saddles before you ride, guys. Check them before you ride. You want a collar there. Okay, so now we can go ahead and peel this back. Okay, it's very dry leather, and this is where your leathers go. So there is a grounding seat underneath there. You've got some leather, but we're going to pull these out. So that's where we are with this one. So now I'm going to lay it back down. I'm going to pull those leathers out, and then I'm going to just sort of recreate the leathers that are already in there. You can use the leathers that are on the saddle as a pattern, but remember, majority of them is worn in, so don't go by the width. Make sure that you pay attention to that, but you can pattern like holes, you can pattern like if it was beveled and all that kind of stuff too. So that's the next step. So let's get it back on the table and pull these guys apart. Okay, so here we go. So again, I'm not going to worry about these saddle strings. I would replace them if they wanted the same thing anyway. You'll see I have their little container of items there. I'm going to go ahead and cut these. I could take the time to pull them apart, you know, if I'm going to reuse them, but I'm not going to. I mean, I would undo the knot and go ahead and do that. So, but I'm not reusing these. So and I throw all the parts in there because sometimes clients will want all the old parts to show that they've actually been, you know, replaced or not cheated. Okay, so here is your leather. Okay, so this is the leather that holds the stirrup on, and this is what we're going to replace. So we're going to remove the stirrup. Set that aside, and now you can see that we need to pull the leather through the holes. I'm gonna see if I can get an angle shot in here. You can see in here and where it's coming out underneath and it's going in the top. This is you guys, when we do these, this is the what you're paying for, because it is a bugger to get these back in. It's really hard if they're really dry. So what you can do is you can either take some oil, you can take some water and put it in there to get them done. You can use like olive oil, neatsfoot oil, doesn't matter. You're replacing these, so it doesn't matter. So trying to get that in there so that it's, I hate to say it, slimy. So it's like you're sliming your leathers kind of a thing. And then you just begin to work that sucker through. Because the inside of the tree is dry. But here we go, because that one is loose. Okay. I'm putting this on my shoulder because I want to keep the angles there. And I'm just jimmying it. And there we go. If you don't put water or oil on it, you're going to have a nice workout. Let me tell you. Oops, sorry guys. And then I push it down, twist and pull, twist and pull. Now, the other thing too is, you see how thin this has become? From pulling. Look at how thin that is. Okay, and look at how thick this is. This is like your new leather. This is like, wow, really worn. So we're running into that problem because it's so thick. So now we have the complete fender and the leather out. Okay, the next step is I'm going to have to remove, these are called Burrs Rivets, and look at how gross those are. So I have to remove those from this part. I have to undo the stitching for this one here. Okay, but I'll be putting Burrs Rivets on this. So I'm saving the fender, but I'm getting rid of this part here. Okay, so that's the next step. I'm not going to show you how to remove a Burrs Rivet. Please go to the video to how to do that and put a new Burrs Rivet on. And then I will come back once these are out and we'll go show you how I'm going to cut the leather. So let's do that next. Welcome back. So I got the leather cut on my half a hide. Unfortunately, here's the thing, guys. If you need to buy a half a hide and you don't have the room to lay it straight out, because when you get that hide, the back is going to be crooked. You have to get a straight line before you start cutting. Please watch my cutting leather video with either a strap cutter or by hand. But you have to have that in a flat surface. So if you don't have that, like me at the moment, I have to either use the kitchen floor or something like that just to put the lines on. I'm not going to cut on the kitchen floor. I'm going to bring that back to my cutting area here and try to lay it out best I can. But you want to make sure that you get that straight line off the back of that hide, or you're going to have a mess. So what I did was I cut the leathers. So we have 2 leathers here. Now these leathers are going to be longer than the original leather, okay? But these are these are 3" now, and they are still raw. The edges are raw. If you want, you can bevel those edges. You don't have to. However, it makes things easier as you're sliding things, and it looks nicer and finished, but it's not necessary. So if you're not quite sure with what beveling is, it's just making those edges nice and smooth and sort of shaped a little bit with a tool, and check out that tool on my website. But here's the original that we took off, right? So this original is 62 inches. He needed it a little bit longer. He wanted 4 inches more. And if it's too long, it's okay because he can cut it off. And I have to make the holes for the fenders. So that's our next step. All right, so we're gonna make the holes and then I will be back. All right, we're back. And so what I'm gonna show you right now is what I've done with the holes. So the whole thing is when you're going to do your holes, I don't know if you can see this, my marks might be too light on here. However, you'll see that I went in 1.5 inches and each mark is 2 inches apart, but I also went 3/4 in. And why am I doing that? I'm making sure that these Blevins are exactly the same and the holes are perfect. So this Blevin on the other end, I made the holes or the marks on this end because this is going to go on this end here, so I have to have the holes for this down here. All right, so this is the end that's going to be threaded through, and so these are, again, for these Blevins, 3/4 inch in and 2. So you just take your ruler and see how many holes you want to do, and you go every 2 inches in. However, you've got to make sure you're 3/4 in on each side. Okay, so that's what I did. And then I punched the holes, and this is what it looks like. Okay, there is a reason why I do this hole on the end. I'll explain it a little bit later. But there you go. You've got your holes. And then we just took on this one here, we made the marks for the holes. Boop, boop, boop. And then we made the holes there. Now these holes are going to be a little bit smaller, because these are going to be for the Burrs and Rivets, and these are for these, so they've got to be big enough to fit in the holes here. There it goes. Okay, perfect. Make sure they're all right. Okay, that one's there. That one's there. Okay, so those are ready to go ahead. This is ready to, and then what I did is I took a beveler and then I also did the edges of that. So this is ready to go to be dyed. Now, I've got number 1 done, but I need another one. So all you're gonna do is put this on and mimic it. So you're gonna take this and mimic it. The big thing is you're gonna have to be really careful. I mean, this is the easy way to do this, is that you want to make sure when you're putting this in line that you are matching your holes into the center. And because when you go to punch, you want to make sure that that hole is in the center. Okay, so make sure you don't go off to the side. You know, some people want to make a circle, you know, where it is. I don't like to do that because if it leaves ink marks, I don't like that. But that's how you'll do that. And then you go along and bevel it, and it gives it a nice edge. Okay, and then that's ready to dye and get ready to condition and oil, and then you're ready to slide them back on. So I'm going to finish this other one, and I'll show you what dyes I use and what are really good conditioners to use for these kind of things, and how I do them. Now everybody does them differently, so there's no right way, wrong way, it's just my way. All right, we'll see you on the next segment. So we're at the dyeing area. You might hear an alarm going off in the background. So what I'm going to do, this is the little tray that I'm going to use. You can reuse the dye, so I just pour it back in the bottle when I'm done. But, oh, I should have put my gloves on first. See, I make boo-boos just like everybody else. And if you do get dye on your hands, you know what your favorite thing is to take it off is alcohol, and it'll take it right off. So if you do get dye on your hands and or wherever you want, I don't know if it gets it out of clothes, but it does get it out of your hands. So just little alcohol, rubbing alcohol, or you could use vodka or maybe a gin or something. I'm joking, guys. Just rubbing alcohol, okay? You could take a swig of vodka or gin, but all right. Okay, let's get started. So we're going to take the dye, and I put a good amount in just because, and this table here, just you guys for your dyeing, this table has plastic all over it. So I didn't do that for a while, but you know what? Now I do, just because I like to keep my tables nice, but sometimes you can't, especially in the dyeing area. So I don't care too much about this. So we've got your leather here. Now here's the other thing too. So we got to hang them once they're dyed. This is your handy hanger, guys. Save yourself a bunch of money. I've got 6 saddle strings that I dyed, and that's going to be for the other saddle. But just hang it over an edge, throw a weight on top of it, and then you'll have yourself a little hanging thing. Yay! Okay, so doesn't matter what end you start with, but I try to start with the end probably won't see, okay? So what I do is I take and dip it. That's all I'm doing. And it's a continuous motion that you keep going. You try to keep it going as much as you can, because you want that even coloring. And as I go, I just sort of rock it back and forth, make sure that the bottom is getting done as well as the top. You know, if you have the ability to have a bigger little, I call it a vat, you know, a dyeing vat, more power to you. I have a very small area, so this is how I do it. Whew. Now this is alcohol based, so I am getting the smell of alcohol like no tomorrow. Okay, and there you go. All right, so I'm going to take a look at it, make sure that it's good, soaking wet, okay, and then I'm going to hang it. And I'll hang that overnight and let it dry and check it. It's going to be rock hard probably. Why? Because the alcohol dries it out. Okay. Yes, I got some on there. It doesn't matter because we're dyeing it. And this is for the underside, so you're not going to really see it anyway. Let me see if I can do it the other way so you guys can see from the camera. So we're going to do that and just dip it. Dip, 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 dip. And I, you know, roll it. I move it. Here we go. I might have to add a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, it's getting low. See how it's getting low, and I really have to push down to get the dye in there? I probably could have added a little bit more dye. That's okay. Let's see, chocolate. Got to be a little ambidextrous. Shoot. Well, you guys, you get to see what happens too. You know, things happen to me too, and you got to sort of laugh it off. What's funny is those pieces that it fell on they are going to be dyed chocolate anyway. So, you know, God's good. He's helping me out. But yeah, if you have like something deeper or like a utility sink that you could be working in, that's really a good deal too. But now I'll go through it and check it. Because that one spot sat in there a little longer than usual, I'll just double check that. Pretty good. So this is good, but it is a little light here. Do you see here? That area, I'm going to re-dip it. It's probably where the dye got gone. I'm going to flip that over. All right. Now, I'm going to let this dye overnight, just like the other one. And then the other thing is, in the morning, when I go back to work on this, then I'm going to look at it and see if I need to do a second coat. The reason why is because sometimes hides do not dye the same. I did cut this from the same hide, but if you've gotten straps, say from Weaver or something like that, then basically what you're doing is possibly getting hides from different cows. So you want to see how that dye process is going to work. You may have to do 2 or 3 coats, just depending on it. It may stripe, it may do other things. So really be mindful when you're dyeing, knowing that it is skin. You don't know what's been fed to the cow. You don't know how it's going to react. So never promise if you're going to do this, or even do it for, you know, money of anything, a bag or anything. Never promise that it's going to turn out a certain color, because you don't know what the hide's going to do. We'll move on to the next step, which will be putting the whole thing together once we get this conditioned and oiled. See you in the next segment. Okay, we're back. And so what I've got done now is I have dyed the leathers. I have left one off. I've already replaced one. But I left it off only because I wanted to show you that with the dye, it does dry it out really hard. So what I do is I go back and I put what's called black rock on it. This is what I use. This is what I use on saddle work and all that kind of stuff. Black rock is a really good, it's almost gone in here. It's like a cream, and it goes a long way. The jar's small, but it goes a long, long way. So what I do is I condition the leather, and then I go back and I do a neat's foot oil sort of bath in it to soften it up, so that then conditions it, oils it, because the alcohol dries it out. And then we're going to go ahead and see one that is completely done. Then I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do this one. All right. Hopefully we don't have the cameras go wonky here. So here it is. It is done. Okay, it's ready to put back on the saddle. So I'm going to tell you a couple of things here. Okay, so this is the bottom, your fender, and then it's going to go ahead and thread through your leathers. So you can imagine this being on the saddle in this way. So this will be the left side. One of the things, if you're going to do this yourself, is to, when you're putting the Burrs Rivets on. So here is your Blevins, okay? Go ahead and put your end on first. I would suggest to do that because sometimes the leather shifts a little bit. So put your end of your Blevins on first. This is going to be a flat twist. There's no twist to this one. He's going to have to train it to go sideways on there. There is no twist. If you want to know how to twist your stirrup leathers, please go watch that video over there. All right. Basically, sometimes you'll crunch this together. Sometimes you'll twist it so that your feet, go this way rather than this way in the saddle. So when you put these on here, then you're going to go ahead, and this is a must. This is a key point, guys. Reason why I know is because I did it on my very first time I did leathers, and I had to redo them all. Cost me I didn't make any money on that one. So when you're doing it, okay, you pound your Burrs Rivets in here. And if you need to know how to do Burrs Rivets, go see that video over there. So there's all kinds of videos to help you through this process. So lay your leather flat. Okay, you're going to lay it flat. But then what you're going to do is you're going to fold it, because it's going to make this top of this leather move long or short. Okay, there's a little bit of a thing there. There we go. So there is that. But because when you go to put these holes, if you do not do that, you're going to mess up and it's going to be super tight. So what's going to happen is your top is going to roll or it's going to bend. So you need to make sure that you have at least that, what do you call that? Not the leverage, but the length in there so that you can fold it nice and easy. All right, make sure that you do that. Key point, guys. So let's get going on this other one, put it together. All right. I left the strings in here. This means absolutely nothing, but if I would have pulled them out, then you would have had all these holes. I wanted to keep it aesthetically looking like it was before. So what I did is I sanded these all down flat. Okay, so this is as flat as the leather. So I just sanded them down flat. Okay, and this one, because it was, the holes were really wonky. See the wonky, so there was going to be another set of holes here. I have to make this flat for the Blevins, okay? I have to make it flat. So you want to have your Blevins going to be facing on the inside of the stirrup. Please make sure, double check, because did that before too. And I had them backwards out this way, got it all on the saddle, and I'm like, oh crap, okay? So double check. Your post should be facing in to the fender, all right? So you're gonna hold that there. Then you're going to take your leather and you are gonna make it so that the rough out and the rough out are on the same side. So then we're gonna slap that in between. I've already made the holes. And then we're gonna burr and rivet it on, all right? So let's go do that. Again, if you want to watch the burr and rivet video, go there or there, wherever it pops up, all right? I'm not going to teach you how to do that. I'm just going to do it, okay? There is some tricks to it. Burr and rivets can be of different lengths and different sizes. So I'm going to place this. I'm going to make sure they're lined up. Make sure my holes are lined up. So what I'm going to be using here, I'm using a 5/8 number 9. It is a copper rivet and burr. All right. So there's different lengths, but that's what I'm using for this one because I've already done one, and that's what worked best. So you should have the burr and the rivet. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside. All right, so we're gonna put that in here, put that in here. You're not gonna do them all at once. You're gonna do them one at a time. So you're gonna take that and you're gonna put the flat side on the pretty side, the shiny side. And by the way, guys, I did oil and condition this outside because once you've got something apart, just take the extra 2 minutes to put it on or to take care of the leather. It's not going to take much time, you know. You always want to take it. Now, there's a shiny side to these rivets, or these burrs. And you put the flat side, the ugly side, on the down. Okay? And then you've got your tool. But 3 good whacks, lally-cacks. There we go. I'm going to take these nippers and I'm going to nip this top part off, okay? Now, when these pop off, I'm going to tell you for a safety reason, find them and throw them away. Because anything that you do when you're removing a rivet, or if you are putting on a rivet, especially copper, if you walk around or a baby walks around and gets that in their feet, you are off to the emergency room. Or you have a dog or a cat, definitely do not want them getting this in their feet. Okay, or if you're removing burr and rivets, you end up having a bunch of shavings from the drill, and that can really get into your skin. So find your pieces and throw them away right away. So you're just going to have a little nub. Now, if you were using, you could use a longer burr and rivet. However, you're going to cut more off. Okay, basically that's what it is. You're just going to cut more off. So then we're going to go ahead, and these are very, very sharp, and we are going to round it out. Now, some people just, ooh, look at that. See, that didn't hold very good. Things happen like this, guys. You know, this is why I do raw videos, because things like this do happen. So we just redo it, okay? So it wasn't set in there. So sometimes you can just hammer it straight, or you can, I do a roundabout move just so that I can get all the edges down. See how nice and round and smooth that is? That's great. Uh-oh, this one's going to pop off too. I know that I put these on the other one and they stayed on. So what we do is we go get another set. Sometimes I'll tell you, when you buy these in a box, these are too big. Even if though they send them together, I don't know what they do, but sometimes they are just too big and they slide right off. All right. All right, we're going to do it again. There are some little things that you can put underneath to lift it, and you can do that. I don't have one here with me, but sometimes if I have to do that, I'll move it to the edge to get some more flatness to lift it up so that you can get this on there more. Okay. So on your tool, you're going to have a hole, and then you're going to have the rounder. So if you've not used a burr and rivet tool, that is what it is. And you can also crimp them too short, and that can cause that too. So let's leave a little bit more of a cap on it. Putting the rounded part on there. Going in a roundabout motion. And if you put your finger across, if you feel a little bit sharp, just lean and push it there. The other thing you can do once it's done is take a little sandpaper and smooth it out. So there you go. And I could have had the wrong side up too as well. All right, last one. I'm gonna leave a little bit higher up so I can get that little mushroom cap on there. Not so much, not go down so much. All right, I'm gonna throw that away. Okay, we got our little cap there. Let's go ahead and round it out. Make sure I have the right part on it. And there we go. So we have 3 now. Okay, so then we got that end done, right? But now we gotta go and we gotta fold this over. We're gonna match up our holes over here because we now have the top of the fender, which I've already done the holes. Now, on this one here, here's a thought. So you're doing an older saddle, you see that they're a little bit bigger than what they should be. Well, that's from being used. So what I did is I made some plugs, okay? You can plug it on the outside if they're really, really bad, or you can plug it on the inside. I'm plugging on the inside. I think I still have enough for the rivet because they were hanging on before. And looking at the holes, I think I have enough. So what I do is I oil these and condition these as well. And I put this in the inside, make sure that I did the both rights. There we go. And you can shape them whatever you want. All right, let's use 2 new ones. So we're gonna put that, we're gonna put the plug in there just for extra support. My holes, I've already measured these, so I just need to put them together. So when you start doing these, you're going to end up with more of the burr or the rivet than you are going to hit the burr. So again, flip this over. And oh boy, this one's sort of hard to tell. You can look by the way it's been scraped. So that's this side. So here you go, guys. We now have another leather ready to go back on. Okay, this is the part that I said was really hard. This is going to take some time. I have in the past used a wire hanger with a hook on the end. This saddle, it's got the slots all the way to the center of the saddle. So you really have to reach down in there and get all the way underneath up into here. So that didn't work very well. So there's another way you can do that. And that is taking like a cord to go ahead and thread it on through. So hopefully you can see that. So I've threaded this through because I didn't want to waste time for you guys to see that. So remember I said there's a hole in the bottom of this thread or of this leather, okay? That's what this is for, okay? You can do it a couple ways. You can tie it on, you can do whatever. But this is not super thick leather, so and the slot is really wide, so that's a good thing because I don't need to struggle to get my leather through that tree slot. Okay. So with this, you want the leather to go in on the top and come out the bottom. So what I did on this one, I could tie it off if I want to, but I got it long enough that I'm just going to go ahead and thread it through. Now, and then I'm going to move the camera closer so you can see what I'm doing. So the hard part is, okay, oops. You got to make sure that this is flat and going in because you only have so much width, all right? So you're going to go through the top and you're just going to pull this bottom one, okay? And you're just going to thread it through. And then when you get to that slot, you're going to have to get it around the corner of that. And that's what this is about. You're going to want to oil this really good on the end. And then you're going to, so you can see that I've got it in there. And I've just got to keep pulling this bottom to get that. I push with this hand and I pull with this hand. And there you go. You've got it. You've got your leather. Pull, pull, pull. Just continue to thread it. Okay, so now we got that through. And now I'm gonna wiggle back and forth and get this in here. But this is all conditioned and oiled, ready to go ahead and be on the saddle. Okay, and then there we have our leather. So let me get it back on the stand and I'll be right back. All right, it is all done. So this is it. This is with its leathers on, with some stirrup hobbles on there. All done and fancy. We put some new saddle strings on the back and the front. He wanted long saddle strings. So it is done. Long job, but I guess Kecho approves of it, so that's all that matters. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, any comments, I would love to see it down below. Watch for more videos on my YouTube channel at the Leather Lady LLC. Don't forget to subscribe and like, or go to my website at theleatherladyllc.com. Have a great day, and see you on the next video.